Hey guys, how is everybody doing today? I apologize, had a little technical difficulty in my last video and it got interrupted, so I wanted to hop back on here. A few weeks ago, I had started a conversation about intermittent fasting as I announced my partnership with a program called the Faster Way to Fat Loss. And I had promised you guys that I'd come back to you at a later date to kind of further elaborate on intermittent fasting. And so I figured I would take that opportunity today to kind of dig into that a little more and help you guys see if this might be an opportunity or an area in your own health and wellness journey where you might need some help. So today we're going to talk about what intermittent fasting is, why it's an effective tool in losing and then maintaining a healthy weight, and then how you can start potentially implementing that strategy into your own wellness journey. So for those of you who do not know me, maybe you're catching this on replay or maybe it has been shared with you, my name is Samantha Franzen, and I work as a health and wellness educator over on the blog Decidedly So, where when it comes to living a healthier life, I always like to say that knowledge is power, but convenience is key. And so I am working to make this process a whole heck of a lot easier for the busy people of the world. So today we're talking about intermittent fasting, and let's kind of dive into all of that. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in here. I'm going to kind of cruise through the information, and then I will do a little bit of the Q&A at the end if I have things that pop up. Or if you're watching it on replay, feel free to drop your comments in, and I will be happy to answer those throughout the day. So let's be really clear to get started here. Intermittent fasting is not a diet. It is an eating schedule, and it's one of the primary strategies that we really use and implement in the program, The Faster Way to Fat Loss. The strategy and the concept behind it is that our bodies are constantly in one of two states. We are either fed or we are fasted. And when we're fed, our insulin levels are high. Our body is using the food that we've consumed for its energy source. And therefore, burning fat is a little bit of a challenge in a fed state. But when you kind of look at that flip side and you're looking at a fasted state, your body enters into a fasted state about 8 to 12 hours after your body has digested its last meal. And in a fasted state, your insulin levels are going to be lower, which then encourages your body to reach into fat stores for energy. So ultimately, you're burning fat for fuel, right? The concept of fasting, I think, is a little bit misunderstood in our society, maybe a little counterintuitive. You know, we're like, oh, fasting, that's like starving yourself, or it's come to be really associated with like something that we do in a spiritual sense. And not that those things are bad by any means. They're actually, I think they're really great. That's not necessarily what we're talking about. And I guess the big emphasis in our society comes back time and time again to the fact that it's the breakfast of champions, right? We're always supposed to be encouraged to eat breakfast, start your morning with breakfast. First thing when you get up, it's the first thing that you're doing. But when you really break down what breakfast is, you are literally breaking your fast with breakfast. That's all that it is. It's when you're breaking your fast. And then again, sometimes though, I feel like in our society that Americans really kind of treat eating as like the hobbits, right? Any of my Tolkien fans out there? We're getting breakfast, then we're going to have second breakfast, then we're going to have elevensies, and then lunch. And we've been trained to eat almost constantly throughout the day. And not like that it's our own fault, because we've been told time and time again that when we eat several small meals throughout the day, that we'll maintain a healthy weight. Anybody heard that? Like, eat lots of small meals throughout the day. Where are my friends on here that maybe have throughout their process purchased a bunch of those cute little colored tiny containers, and you spent hours and hours and hours over the years preparing these cute little tiny meals that you take with you, and it's really time consuming and it's super overwhelming? Anybody? I know I've done it. I mean, this is a huge thing that I've been taught to snack and eat throughout the day. So the challenge with this is that if you are initially going to see results from any of those smaller meal type of situations, and this is because anytime that you are restricting your caloric intake, you're going to lose weight. But has anybody who's tuning in, maybe like you've done this, you've seen the results, and then you plateau? Well, that's because you have reset your metabolic rate, and then in order to continue getting the same results, you have to keep cutting calories, which kind of leads to this really vicious cycle where your body thinks that like it starts to think that it's starving, and you kind of are starving it when you continue to restrict calories further and further. And when that state sets in, the body starts using its least desired fuel source, which is protein from your muscles. And then you lose muscle mass, which then further lowers your metabolic rate. And really, you're just, I always joke, like in our family, I sometimes will say cyclical cycle, which is redundancies, but you're on this vicious cycle that it just won't stop. And then you just get more and more frustrated. Has anybody felt that way? I know that I have absolutely been there. So what is the difference with intermittent fasting? You will absolutely eat a normal and healthy allotment of calories. You're just going to do it in a shorter eating window. So you stop eating at night and allow your fast to begin, and then you give your body about 8 to 12 hours after it's done digesting to tap into those fat stores, and then you get back to eating. It's really just a basic cycle. You're fed and then you're fasted. And then here's the other thing. I think that hunger has become kind of this bad word in our society. And know that when I'm speaking about hunger, I by no means am implying like the kind of hunger that is food insecure hunger. That's a cause that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is not what we're discussing here. But I have started to really wonder and look into, when was the last time that you felt really hungry before you decided to eat? I know that for me, there have been a lot of times where it's like I never felt hungry. I just ate because I was supposed to eat. And, I don't know. Does anybody else ever have that situation where you just feel like you're just eating because you're supposed to? You don't ever feel hungry? I think or I know for a fact that hungry feeling is actually a very, very important process in digestion, because it is your body gearing up and producing those digestive enzymes for you to be able to have it do its job more effectively. So you break down that meal and then you benefit from the nutrients because you have your digestive juices flowing. So feeling hungry before you eat is actually a really beneficial thing. So stop being afraid of feeling hungry, right? Okay. So what I think I love most about intermittent fasting, you guys, is that it's allowed me the opportunity to really listen to my body and encourage it to work most optimally. I have noticed that I don't have bloating and a lot of those tummy troubles that I've struggled with a lot of my adult life after eating meals. And then by being able to pair intermittent fasting with varied and strategic workouts, I'm benefiting from a reduction in my fat stores. I'm seeing the results on my bottom and on my thighs, and it feels really great. Like, it feels great to look great. There's no one who can argue that. So let's answer the final question, which is, how can you start implementing intermittent fasting? Well, what I'm going to do is there's this really fantastic guide that I have available for you guys if you're interested in kind of toying with this or trying it out. I will put a link to that in the comments as soon as this video concludes. But if you are brand new to this idea, the real basics of it, I will encourage you to stop eating around 8 o'clock at night, and then try to wait until at least 8 o'clock the next morning to eat again and see how you feel. And then I would encourage you to try to start increasing the number of hours from the time you stop eating until the time you start eating again. Now, it's really important here for me to mention to you that staying within a healthy caloric intake is incredibly important in this process. And if you're going to embark on this journey, that you really, really need to think about that. You need to watch your macros, and you need to make sure that you're getting good nutrients, and you need to absolutely make sure that you are not under eating, because if you're under eating, you're simply doing what you're doing when you're eating little tiny meals too. You're going to reset your metabolic rate to the detriment, not to the betterment of yourself. So I will finally mention that if you are really interested in fully understanding this process of really diving in and having somebody who's going to walk alongside you, I would absolutely encourage you to sign up for my upcoming round of the Faster Way to Fat Loss. I'm going to kick that off on July 23rd. And the focus of the program is mastering this new eating cycle and then pairing it with strategic exercise so that you're encouraging your body to become a fat burning machine. For lack of a better way of not sounding cliche, you are encouraging your body and teaching your body to burn fat and fat stores. I know that I will tell you guys, I have a lot of women that have already signed up. I have a lot of women who are expressing interest. And I am going to be capping out the program, this first one, to keep it really intimate, because it will be my first rodeo by myself. So if this is something that you're interested in, please, I will also drop a link in the comments for that. So make sure that you check it out and get your place reserved. I'm also going to mention, because my father was very clear with me the other day and helping me point out that this program is not just for women. It is also for men. It works fantastic for men. There is a separate program, a separate eating cycle and things like that for the men that I could dig into. If you're a man and you're interested, this is something that can also be beneficial for you. But I don't want to exclude the men of the world, right? But you need to reserve your spot too. So if you guys have any questions, I will try to scroll back through here. They just keep kind of chiming along and moving up in the list. So it's going to be, I'm probably not going to answer them here live, but I will go back through and I will answer those questions that have popped up. If you found this video helpful today, you guys, please feel free to share it with someone that you love. I appreciate all of that as always. Appreciate you tuning in today. Make sure, again, if you are interested, that you reserve your spot in my July 23rd launch of the Faster Way to Fat Loss. And I will talk to you guys all again soon. So take care, guys. Thank you.